Are we happy being here? I can see a lot of coppers around. Copper Sean. Copper Sean. My name is Osaro Obah. I work for Bank of Industry. I am the Divisional Head, SME South of the bank. And I'm excited each time I'm around youths of our country, of our great country. And the reason why I was making reference to the coppers is that as a bank, we have a working relationship with the National Youth Service Corps. And so we have a funding program specially designed to take care of youth coppers, what we call the YiBF scheme. Under that scheme, each of these coppers you are seeing can borrow up to 3 million naira by just presenting their certificates, their youth course certificates as collateral. So I'm going to discuss that very briefly. But why am I here? I want to thank the organizers of this program, the Youths in Business Forum program. This will be my second time I will be participating in their program, where I also did a presentation. But today, I'm going to spend very few minutes to talk about the Bank of Industry, what we are doing, areas of intervention, where we think we can work together, the essence of the bank, and why Nigerians should actually key into what the bank is doing. Because it is your bank. It is a national asset. So it is not a bank for only A or B. As long as you are a Nigerian, irrespective of the state you come from, you have a right to access funding from the Bank of Industry. So BOI, as an institution, go to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. So BOI as a bank is the oldest DFI in Nigeria. It was established before, I'm sure I'm correct to say, before all of us here were born. It was established in 1959, before Nigeria's independence. And so it has gone through several changes. You know, it started as NIDB, then it became BOI 2011 under the administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo. So if you look at the trajectory, okay, it used to be called NIDB, but today is BOI. It is owned by the federal government. That is why I say you have access to funding from the bank. It is owned by both the Ministry of Finance, which is the federal government ministry, and of course, the Central Bank of Nigeria. These two institutions own more than 98% of the bank. You know, less than 2% belong to private equity owners. So essentially, it is a federal government institution. But the bank is run like a normal private enterprise with the best practice put into being. So we have a clear-cut way of accessing facilities, processing facilities, and disbursing our loans. All our terms and conditions are known because they are on the website. They are not subject to anybody interpreting it differently. They are very clear, clear and well publicized and made available to you at your first contact with the bank. So irrespective of the state where you are, you can access BOI funding to enable you bring out that business entrepreneurship you have in your dream. And we offer facilities at the very cheap terms. Please, the next slide, please. So that is the structure. You can see CBN 40.36%, Moffitt at Ministry of Finance 59.54%, then small individuals less than a percentage. Okay, so it's essentially CBN, Ministry of Finance, and private shareholders. Next slide, please. Our vision is to be Africa's leading DFI institution operating under best global practices. Our mission is to transform Nigeria's industrial sector. How and why? By providing financial support, business advisory, capacity building, engage in this kind of sessions and forum, you know, in order to support enterprises. Enterprises used in a generic manner. It means small, nano, small, medium, large. They're all enterprises. So that your small business, it can be nano, it can be micro, you qualify as an enterprise. Enterprise there is used in a generic sense, cutting across all business segments. Our mandate, very clear, to provide financial assistance. So we are going to give money. You know, we can buy you equipment, we can buy you raw materials, but essentially we are providing funding at very good terms and conditions. So we are not a commercial bank. We're not going to charge you 28%, 29%, 3% flat, 2% flat. No. Most of our facilities are single digits. And for term loan, we do 10% per annum, and that can stretch for 5 years. Working capital, we do 12% per annum, and that can also stretch for 3 years. And under COVID, we actually took 2% cut in these rates back. So term loan became 8%, working capital became 10.5%. And for term loan, we can go as far as to 5 years. We also have a very unique product, which we call moratorium, which is not available in the commercial banks. The moratorium is a period that allows you not to repay the principal that you are borrowing from the financial institutions. It enables you to prepare, sell your product, and develop market capacity before you start repaying the facility to the bank. Okay? So, assistance for establishment of large, as I discussed earlier, medium, small companies, as well as for the expansion, diversification, modernization. Expansion means an existing business that wants to grow. So to expand, what do you require? More machines, more raw materials. If I give you that, you employ more people. If you employ more people, you are addressing the unemployment challenge in Nigeria. Then if the company wants to diversify, either you want to do backward integration or forward integration, we can also support you. So you have a current operation, but maybe you want to now go and produce your own raw materials. So you are moving back. Or you want to, instead of producing intermediate product, you want to move forward to produce finished products. We're also supporting, because each of them, you need technology, you need resources to be able to do that. And that's what the bank can do for you. We also support modernization. That speaks to technology. And in this age of technology, you cannot continue to do what our grandparents used to do. You know, as a young man growing up, you know, my mother has a way of producing gari. So, what is the process? Traditionally, you go to a farm, you bring the cassava, you use your hand to clean them. Okay, first of all, remove the back, then you clean, you wash, then you take them to grate. At times, you do manual grating. At times later, there's a machine you can now take them to grate them. Then you now come back. You now put water and mix it and press it. Okay, after pressing about 2-3 days, you then have and fry the gari. And when you fry the gari, you carry it in a basin, take it to local market to sell, having leaving some for you to consume in the house. But technology has changed that. That labor, that process involves one person or two people, and how much can you do? Today, that same gari processing can be automated. You can get a machine to do that process. The frying can be automated. All that process I've described cannot be automated. The pressing cannot be done using pressing machines that you can just put there and then you press it by force. In those days, you use wood to press it with a rope. You press and press and press until after 2-3 days before you get it out to fry. So that has changed. That same process I've described, you can look at it from everything in your local community. The process has changed. You're not applying technology. You're not applying power. The processes cannot be evolved by using machines. And when you're using machines, there's less labor. When there's less labor, the output most likely will be more. And when there's more output, then it connects to your packaging. It connects to the market. So the example I gave, my mother will move that gari to the local market in the community. But today, gari is not a local product. So instead of moving it in the basin to the market, you can package a gari into 0.5 kg, 1 kg, 2 kg, 3 kg, and sell to different markets. So the small kgs, you are looking at students. The bigger kgs, you are selling to a bigger market. And you can also transport them outside the community to a bigger market like Lagos to sell it. And once you have connection to a bigger market, then you get more revenue. Once you get more revenue, you can easily repay back the facility. And then you employ more people, because you get to a point, you cannot do it yourself alone. So you engage 1 or 2 persons. Can you imagine setting up 1,000 businesses? And the 1,000 business employs two people. Two people, just 2 per business. That is how you resolve unemployment challenge in a country. You know? These are our locations. Please go back a bit. We are in 30 states of the Federation. 30 states, 29 states, 30 locations. In Lagos, because of the size of business in Lagos, we have 2 state offices. We're in Ikeja, in Alausa, and we're in Lekki. Apart from Lagos, we are present in additional 28 states of the Federation. There is no region of Nigeria where we do not have a presence. If you look at it there, we're in South-South, we're in Southwest, we're in North-Central, we're in Northeast, we're in Northwest, we're in Southeast. So wherever you come from in Nigeria, there's a BI office next door to you. And as very young people who are serving technology, you can also go to the website to look at information about BOI. www.boi.ng. Everything I've said and more are available on our website. Next slide, please. Impact of BOI. Okay, good. Job creation, which I spoke about earlier. Wealth creation and poverty alleviation. Because the more people are employed, are gainfully employed, the more wealth is created. Then you move them out of poverty. When they go out of poverty, they cannot contribute more to society because they can pay their taxes. They are earn a better living. And the more of that is done, we are addressing major macroeconomic issues of job, insecurity, etc. Technology transfer, local content. Once you get involved in a production process or in a business or in a value-adding service, then you are likely going to apply the latest technology. Even though the technology is not produced by you, the fact that you are using it, you get used to it. And little by little, the little bit of technology transfer. Because the more you use it, the more you get adapted to it, and the more you can even decide to even create something different, not necessarily the same thing, a byproduct of that. And the more of that is done, Nigeria will be greater for it. Of course, tax payment to government. All the businesses I mentioned, whether it's a nano business, or it's a small business, or it's a medium-scale business, as long as you are incorporated, it means that you'll be paying taxes to government. And so that helps. Gender participation. We have a very good focus on women. Because if you train a woman, you actually train a society. Educate a woman, educate a society. So for every educated woman who has a good job, there is a 95% chances that her entire lineage going forward will not suffer. The same thing with men. But the essence why we're focusing on women is that if you look at it as Africans, we've not been too fair to women. So what we've done as a bank, we have a full-fledged division that we call gender desk. And it is for businesses either owned or managed by women. It's a full-fledged unit focusing on women business to drive home the impact. Because if you go abroad to raise money, they will ask you your staff strengths. You say, yeah, you've employed these people, you've generated jobs, this number of jobs, you give 1.4 trillion naira balance sheet to customers, they will ask you, that number, how many women are there? Those jobs you created, how many women are involved? So when we inspect a factory, we also ask that question. So when we go to those factories, we ask the question, human resources, your employment, how many men are there? How many women are there? Just to create a balance as a focus, deliberate focus. Then financial inclusion. I spoke about that. Then import substitution. Just as my brother said, we cannot continue to run a country where everything we consume is imported. It's a wrong tragedy. I want to change it. So if you produce locally, as he said, we can support the production. You cannot take it to export. When you produce locally, then you not rely on imported items. If you don't export, then you are not any foreign currency. Both ways, you are helping us to address that issue of import substitution. Because it is what you don't import means that you are producing locally. And the more you produce locally, when you finish attending to the local demands, the next logical step is to now export to international market and earn foreign currency. Then value share linkages, very, very important. Okay? Then profitability and sustainability, just to ensure that the business continues to run, operating in very best practices, in a very good environment, using alternative power sources like renewable energy so that it's sustainable. So we focus on waste management, we focus on sustainability, we focus on renewable energy as a way to drive the business you are into. Next slide, please. So, funding options. I listed several, but I will summarize them. If you want to do business generally as a young person, how do you get your money to run your business? The first option there is, I call it bootstrapping, in which case you're looking at self-funding from savings, if you have it, as always, or you talk about a susu, your brother, your sister, give you some money to do that business. The second option is your friends and family, your classmates, your schoolmates, your church members, your mosque members, your neighbors, your friends. You have a business idea, don't let idea die. Approach them to provide support for you. So you can get money from friends and family. Then small business grants and intervention funds, which we'll be discussing because our funds are cheaper, but than intervention funds. Then you look at loans or lines of credit from a bank, who can be a DFI or a commercial bank, a microfinance bank, okay? And then DFIs there are many. You have Bank of Industry, you have Nexim Bank, you have Bank of Agriculture, etc., etc. Then there's another wing talking about incubators. These are startup businesses. Startup businesses, people try to provide support for them so that they can grow. And then later, some of those businesses are sold, either sold privately or sold publicly when the business kicks off. But before the business gets to that point where it can be sold, it's incubated. Incubators like a baby in a womb or a baby in an incubator machine. So the baby is too fragile. If you leave it and bring the baby out, the baby may not survive. So it's kept in a controlled environment to incubate it. So that process, you are discussing it, you are looking at the format, you are looking at the shape, you are looking at scalability, you look at what you require for the baby to live well. All that are done in a funding manner. Angel investors is another option. Okay? Then crowdfunding. This is a new one, and I'm sure some of us here are aware of this. Given what happened in America some years back, when Ford was killed and the whole world raised money to support him for his burial and his family. Crowdfunding is another window to actually fund your business. We call it locally a susu. But crowdfunding means that there's an objective that you want to serve. People can then contribute piecemeal sum of money and it's aggregated to enable you to do what you want to do. Then, of course, partnership. We encourage this in BOI. This number 8. We do not think that you can do business as an individual. So we don't support you as a person. You must get incorporated. If you're not incorporated, BOI will not support you. You can register as an enterprise, which is cheap. You can also register as a limited liability company, or you can form a cooperative and work with other people. We encourage incorporation so that the business can outlive you. Because the idea you have should never be limited to you as a person. You should need to have an idea that can outlive you. That's how you can change the world. Guinness, somebody's name. Mercedes, somebody's name. Toyota is somebody's name. Procter & Gamble, these are people's names. So why can't it be you? Dangote is somebody's name. So why can't it be you? So it can be you. All you need to do is to incorporate it and apply best practices. So as the business grows, you can get other investors to come into the bin. You structure the board. You have advisors on the board. Put it in proper perspective. they cannot leave you. So when you're retiring, your children can take over, or you employ owner managers, or employ other managers who can come to run the business. Dangote is a billionaire. He's not involved in how they run the business, but the business is running because you have structured it. Zenith Bank was established in our own time. Look at the level it is now. Same for GTB. So all these institutions are around. Local example you can give. So why can't it be you? So that idea, please don't let it go down. Go and get it registered, and try and apply the best practice in running that business so that the business can outlive you. Commitment to major customers in some cases, then intervention funds. That is why I'm here. Our funds are intervention funds because we are not charging commercial rates. So it's important that whatever business you want to do, please look around for where you have a bank of industry or any of DFIs, because what we offer are single-digit interest rates and then give you longer tenure to repay that facility. And I'm sure that you may have a lot of questions, so I'm going to hang around. I'm going to participate in the panel break so that we can take all your questions and comments. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you and good morning.